You believe you think for yourself, that your opinions are your own, that your decisions come from reason, that when you look at the world, you are seeing it clearly. But what if that isn't true? What if most of what you call thinking is just repetition? What if your mind isn't as independent as you assume, but shaped, guided, and quietly influenced without you ever noticing? This is the uncomfortable truth most people avoid. You are not thinking nearly as much as you believe. You are reacting to patterns, reacting to environments, reacting to ideas that were placed in your mind long before you even questioned them. And the most dangerous part? It doesn't feel like control. It feels natural. It feels obvious. It feels like truth, which is exactly why it works. Because the moment you stop questioning, you stop seeing. And the moment you stop seeing, you start following. Not consciously, not intentionally, but automatically. Look around you. Notice how often people repeat the same opinions with the same certainty, using almost the same words. Notice how quickly ideas spread, how fast beliefs form, how little resistance they meet. And then, ask yourself something simple. Where did those ideas come from? Did they emerge from deep reflection? Or were they absorbed without resistance? Because thinking, real thinking, is difficult. It requires effort. It requires friction. It requires the ability to sit with discomfort, to question what feels right, to challenge what feels familiar. And your brain does not like that. It prefers efficiency. It prefers shortcuts. It prefers patterns that are already established. So, instead of questioning, it adopts. Instead of analyzing, it accepts. Instead of thinking, it follows. And slowly, without noticing, you begin to build a reality that isn't entirely yours. A reality shaped by repetition. A reality reinforced by others. A reality that feels personal, but is anything but. Now, here's where things get deeper. Because this isn't just about influence. It's about something far more fundamental. The human mind was never designed to seek truth. It was designed to survive. And for most of human history, survival depended on one thing above all else: belonging. To stay with the group, to align with the tribe, to avoid rejection. Because being excluded didn't just hurt, it killed. So your brain evolved to prioritize agreement over accuracy, comfort over truth, acceptance over understanding. And even today, that instinct is still there. You feel it every time you hesitate to disagree, every time you soften your opinion to fit in, every time you silence a thought because it might create tension. That's not weakness. That's conditioning. Ancient, automatic, deeply embedded. And because of that, you don't just think. You adjust, you adapt, you align, without even realizing you're doing it. This creates something incredibly dangerous: the illusion of independent thought. You believe you reached a conclusion, but in reality, you inherited it. You believe you made a choice, but in reality, you were guided toward it. And the more people operate this way, the stronger the system becomes, because no one questions it. Everyone assumes they are seeing clearly, while in reality, they are all looking in the same direction, following the same invisible lines, repeating the same patterns,
and reinforcing the same structures over and over again until they become invisible, until they feel normal, until they feel like truth. But here's the part that changes everything. The system doesn't need force. It doesn't need pressure. It doesn't need control in the way you imagine, because the control is internal. It lives inside your own thinking, inside your habits, inside your reactions, inside your need to belong, which means you participate in it, you maintain it, you strengthen it every single day without ever noticing. And once you understand that, everything starts to shift. Because the question is no longer, who is controlling people? The real question becomes, why is it so easy to control them in the first place?
Now, once you understand that your mind is not as independent as it feels, something else becomes clear. You are not just influenced. You are predictable. Your reactions, your decisions, your beliefs, they follow patterns. Patterns that can be observed, patterns that can be anticipated, and most importantly, patterns that can be used. This is where manipulation begins, not with force, not with obvious control, but with subtle alignment. Because real manipulation doesn't look like manipulation. It looks like coincidence. It looks like your own idea. It feels like something you decided. And that's exactly why it works so well. Think about how easily your mood can shift. A single headline, a single comment, a single video, and suddenly your perception changes. Not because you analyzed new information, but because something triggered a response. Your brain is constantly filtering reality, not objectively, but emotionally. It decides what matters based on what feels significant. And that makes you vulnerable. Because if someone can control what you feel, they can influence what you think. This is how narratives spread, not through logic, but through repetition and emotion. You don't need to prove something is true, you just need to make it feel true. Say it often enough, frame it strongly enough, attach it to the right emotion, and eventually, people stop questioning. They start accepting. And once something is accepted, it becomes part of how they see the world. Here's a simple example. Imagine hearing the same idea over and over again. Different people, different contexts, same core message. At first, you might resist it. Then you become familiar with it. Then you stop reacting to it. And eventually, you begin to agree with it. Not because it convinced you logically, but because it became normal. Familiarity creates comfort, and comfort creates acceptance. Now take that process and scale it. Apply it to millions of people. Repeat it across platforms, conversations, environments, and suddenly, you're not just influencing individuals, you're shaping perception at scale. You're creating shared beliefs. You're building collective assumptions. And once those assumptions are in place, you don't need to control people directly anymore. They control themselves. This is where things get even more subtle. Because manipulation doesn't just come from outside, it also comes from within. From your own cognitive biases, your own shortcuts, your own blind spots. For example, you tend to seek information that confirms what you already believe and ignore what contradicts it. You prefer simple explanations over complex ones. You trust confidence more than accuracy. You assume familiarity means truth. These are not flaws. They are features of how your mind works, but they can be exploited easily. Because if someone understands how your brain filters information, they don't need to argue with you. They just need to guide what you see.
They can present ideas in a way that bypasses your resistance. They can shape your interpretation before you even realize it. They can make you feel like you are discovering something, when in reality, you are being led to it. And the most unsettling part is this: the smarter you think you are, the less you question your own thinking. You trust your reasoning. You trust your judgment. You assume that because you are aware, you are immune. But awareness alone is not enough, because these patterns operate beneath awareness. They influence your first reaction, your immediate interpretation, your instinctive response. And by the time you start thinking consciously, the direction has already been set. This is why intelligent people are not safe. They are just better at justifying what they already believe, better at explaining decisions they didn't fully control, better at defending ideas that were never truly theirs. And once you see this clearly, you begin to understand something important. Manipulation doesn't need control over your actions. It only needs influence over your perception. Because your perception determines everything that comes after. What you believe, what you choose, what you ignore. And once perception is shaped, the outcome is almost inevitable.
If your perception can be shaped, then your reality can be shaped. And once you see that, the question changes. It's no longer, is this true? It becomes, why does this feel true? Because what feels obvious is often the result of repetition. What feels certain is often the result of familiarity. And what feels personal is often something you absorbed, not something you created. This is where most people stop. They feel the discomfort, they sense something is off, but they don't go further. Because going further requires something most people avoid: doubt. Not doubt about the world, doubt about themselves, about their own thinking, about their own certainty. And that is far more difficult, because it removes the ground you stand on. It forces you to admit that you might not be seeing clearly, that your conclusions might not be yours, that your confidence might be misplaced. And the mind resists that hard. So instead of questioning deeper, it stabilizes. It returns to what is familiar. It reinforces what is comfortable. It rebuilds the same patterns. And the cycle continues, quietly, consistently, unnoticed. But there is a moment, a very specific moment, where everything can change. It doesn't come from learning more. It doesn't come from hearing new ideas. It comes from noticing. Noticing your reactions. Noticing how quickly you form opinions. Noticing how easily something feels right or wrong without real examination. That moment is small, but it matters. Because in that moment, you create distance. Distance between stimulus and reaction. Distance between influence and belief. Distance between what you feel and what you accept. And in that space, something rare happens. You begin to think, not react, not repeat. Think. But thinking like this is slow, uncomfortable, uncertain. It doesn't give you immediate answers. It doesn't feel satisfying. And that's why most people don't do it. Because reacting is easier. Following is easier. Accepting is easier. So the system stays intact, not because it is forced, but because it is convenient. Now here's the part most people don't want to hear. You are not outside of this. You are inside it. You have been influenced. You have followed patterns. You have accepted ideas without questioning them. Not because you are weak, but because you are human. And once you accept that, You stop pretending. You stop assuming you are immune. You stop trusting every thought that appears in your mind. And that changes everything. Because now, you don't just listen to your thoughts. You observe them. You don't just accept your reactions. You question them. You don't just follow what feels right. You examine why it feels right. And slowly, you start to see patterns. Patterns in yourself, patterns in others, patterns in the way ideas spread, the way opinions form, the way behavior repeats. And once you see those patterns, they lose their power. Not completely, but enough. Enough for you to hesitate. Enough for you to pause. Enough for you to not follow automatically. And that's the difference. Not total freedom, not perfect awareness, but interruption. A break in the pattern. A moment where you are not just reacting, but choosing. Most people never reach that point. Not because they can't, but because they don't look. They don't question. They don't slow down enough to notice. So they keep repeating, keep following, keep believing they are thinking when they are not. But once you see it, you don't go back. Because now you understand something fundamental. Control doesn't come from outside. It starts inside your own mind, in your assumptions, in your reactions, in what you accept without question. And the moment you start questioning, you start breaking it. Not all at once, not completely, but enough to no longer be invisible. Enough to no longer be automatic. Enough to see what most people never do. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.